Hey there, welcome to the Reinsurance Podcast, the place where we dive into all things reinsurance, the coolest part of insurance. We're your hosts, Jared and Ben, a couple of ex-practitioners who loved the industry so much we founded Supercede to tackle some of its biggest headaches. And we're here to share our insights and stories with expert guests as we uncover what's really going on in the industry.
Well, welcome back on board, Mark, to the Reinsurance Podcast live from Monte Carlo.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing? How's your Monte Carlo going?
It's going really well. Usual packed out diary. I think we've got 32 meetings or something like that in totality, which is something ungodly. But yeah, all going well.
I mean, jokes aside, you do a crazy amount of work building the Accord family. I guess this is one of your key times, I guess, for doing that, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the kind of core ecosystems that Accord have done so well on is our reinsurance and specialty community, known as Rushlacon. So yeah, that's now over, I think it's 17, 18 years old now in totality, and that's growing strength to strength around the world, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And how is adoption, I guess, of Accord in general? Because obviously we hear about it all the time, there's lots of stuff in the press. How do you think about adoption?
The biggest thing which I think has been a game changer over the last couple of years is, historically it was Accord promoting the value of the standards, but we're now seeing big brokers like Howden, for example, who have grabbed the Accord GRLC standards through our Accord Solutions Group messaging capability and are just launching it across the globe to all of their carriers to say, this is how we're doing it. And they're excited about the benefits and they're seeing it internally, which is great because that's then stimulating more interest and adoption. So that's going tremendously well.
Oh, really good to hear. What just to contextualize it a bit, what does that mean for, the broker or underwriter on the street? There might be a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes they're not aware of. What does it mean in terms of industry progress, I guess, for them?
Sure. So historically, a placement, an invoice, a claim advice is exchanged via email, historically. Yeah. So what the Accord messaging does, and via platforms like the Adept Gateway, where we've launched these regional hubs around the world with each local association to drive adoption. There's an advertisement we put in the Insider today, which is you're one of a million, you get 1 million free transactions as part of our sponsorship deal to drive more adoption. But what are the benefits? Why do you do it? Effectively, you're doing additional data exchange. So you're removing, firstly, rekeying of data. So there's time efficiencies there, inaccuracy of data efficiencies. You're then increasing the number of throughput, which then leads to faster payments, which means to faster claims resolutions, which therefore benefits the end insured, which of course we're all here to serve. And then fundamentally, you're here to ultimately drive for carriers their unallocated cash position. So someone like a big carrier like an AXA XL, you'll be sitting on funds that have come into you, but you can't reconcile it back to the originating kind of policy that's been written. So by AXA and Marsh, who've recently kind of pioneered on connecting placing with accounting on our Accord GRLC standards, have been able to get that unallocated position right down, because as the invoice money comes in, we'll reconcile it to the invoice, which reconciles to the placement. So it's just a straight through processing efficiency. But the biggest challenge we've got right now is, how do we continue to share that message to an audience such as those that come to the Monte Carlo Rendezvous? This isn't a technology play, this is a business operational efficiency play. It's just making sure you're communicating in a language that makes sense to them.
Yeah, I can imagine there are plenty of distractions out there at the moment, which it might be very promising in and of themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you look at all the world of AI and everything that's emerging simultaneously to the mission that you're on?
It's really funny because we had a number of CEO meetings yesterday and we were talking about exactly that problem statement. And it's a bit like the blockchain generation a few years back. It's a buzzword. It's exciting, and I deeply respect the passion for people to embrace new technology, even if you're not entirely sure what use cases best fits it. And I think artificial intelligence is, again, a great example whereby huge amount of potential, but the application of said technology has to be based on good, structured, standardized data. Otherwise, you're going to find actually artificial intelligence does nothing but expose poor operational processes, and you end up spending more money rather than less, which obviously people are trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. You end up sort of amplifying the problems in many ways instead of making them better.
And we've seen several case studies of that happen across the community. Yeah.
Oh, super interesting. And I guess obviously there's a whole world out there, and you're operating in all sorts of different regions, but we had the news recently about Blueprint 2 being pushed back a bit in terms of rollout. Does that mean anything interesting for you guys, or sort of more opportunity to drive traction there? Or?
So the nice thing about this market, it's so connected. Pretty much everyone in the world will have a syndicate and they'll have a global entity as well. Yeah. So what the actual Blueprint 2's core foundations of modernising the core architecture to ensure it's scalable and has a long longevity in the London market makes complete sense, and it will be ready when it's ready, and they'll cut over when it's safe to cut over. But what it's actually able to stimulate is organisations in London taking the time to go, well, if the Blueprint 2 adopts a core GRLC messaging, why don't we get going and get started on our global book of business now? So our Bermuda entity, our North American entity, our Singapore, Dubai, whichever it might be. And we've already been helping lots of organisations get going on that.
Yeah.
And to do that, what we've done, Accord have got a Global Advisory Council, the GAC, made up of associations around the world representing specialty and reinsurance organisations, their members. And we've set up these hubs in North America, Dubai, Bermuda, launching one in Singapore, continental Europe, and of course London. And any organisations in those regions get access to start doing a core GRLC messaging. You're 1 in a million transactions, everyone gets a 3 million transactions. They get started on their global book of business, get familiar with the standards, familiar with that kind of process, so that when Blueprint 2 is ready to enable people to do GRLC, they're well tried and tested and can get going.
It's quite exciting to have a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, in terms of not every region does their own thing differently, but maybe one day we could all be using the same standards.
Harmonised setup, right? I came into the London market 10, 12 years ago, I think it was, and it was full of Londonisms, London-specific software products, and it was very isolated to the way in which the London Market Bureau operates. But aligning it to one set of global standards enables big carriers, big brokers to have one core system, one core accounting process, one core placing process, etc., which ultimately drives operational efficiencies.
Fabulous. And so I guess, so we're drawing nearer to the close of these brief back-to-back interviews. What are you excited about or scared of or any other emotions relevant to the next sort of 12 months or so?
I think the big thing will be we're going to do more on the cords of these regional hubs, just helping organisations getting onto core messaging. So I'm completely relaxed. I'm really excited by that, particularly given the amount of adoption now by the big brokers. And we all know this reinsurance and specialty market is very intermediated. Brokers wear the trousers, for lack of a better phrase, and so much as pushing out that process. So the big thing for me is helping people with that artificial intelligence message, because like blockchain, all very excited, all want to get going on that. Within the Adept product that we have Transcriber, which is an AI data extraction technology. So if the producer can't send an Accord message, we can intercept their document, turn it into structured Accord message and present it to the receiver, which might be a reinsurer. So helping our members adopt AI for use cases which actually add value to their business. So I think that's going to be the big challenge, is getting our heads around that. And let's be honest, no one knows the full potential of AI. Even if you look at the motoring trade, right, all the cars are starting to turn up into the old iRobot format. I'm like, crikey, maybe that film was quite right. Maybe that is the future. So I think that's the exciting but yet challenging part for moving forward.
Oh, very cool. And then more broadly, I guess, outside of Accord, are you hearing any interesting trends or gossip or news and insight in the market as you've been here?
I think everyone's, I'm going to take a slight technology lens on that. Everyone wants a slice of, again, I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence. Everyone wants a slice of artificial intelligence, but they're not entirely sure why they want it. So I think I attended a couple of US P&C conferences quite recently, and there's even firms who have AI in their organisational name. I'm like, one second, you've changed your website address to have AI in it. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I think one of the kind of sort of sound bites is, again, the sound bites and also challenges for the industry is, how do people make sense of this? Speaking to carriers who attend those types of conferences, they're like, I'm surrounded by all these wonderful technology solutions, but which ones do I get together and how do I glue them to make sense and move forward? And Accord will always stand by, and Accord Solutions Group will always operationalise getting the foundations right. It's laying the tarmac so that you can put all these lovely AI solutions on the side of it, your street lamps and coffee shops and petrol stations, but you've got to make sure the tarmac is smooth and stable to enable you to advance and develop from there.
It's an awesome analogy to end on. Thanks so much, Mark, for coming back on the show. And,
thanks for having me.
Look forward to seeing you around the conference.
Look forward to it. Cheers, Ben.
Thanks for tuning in to the Reinsurance Podcast. If you enjoyed our show, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review to let us know how we're doing, preferably 5 stars. For more insights and updates, follow us on LinkedIn and visit our website at supercede.com/podcasts. You'll find the links in the show notes.